are back and moving into our final segment for today as we tell you all about the newest rum, Copalli Rum. And we have with us on set Karen Young, who is a biotechnologist, and we have Waluco Maheia, who is a rum expert.
Yes. Good morning, Belize.
Morning.
Yes.
Thank you all for being here. Let me start off, Waluco. There are a lot of people in Belize who claim they're rum experts, you know, just by how much they drink. Is that how you gained your qualification?
No. Well, in a sense, yes, because I had to have a little feel of tasting rum and enjoying rum, right? But along with that, I've been working at Copalli Lodge and Distillery for about a year. Got a lot of hands-on experience working along with Karen at the distillery and working various departments at the distillery.
Okay.
Earlier this year, I was in Louisville and I went to Moonshine University, and that's where I got the little certificate saying rum expert. So.
Okay. So you can't just drink a lot of rum and call yourself a rum expert. That's the first lesson.
That's the first lesson. But it does help with exercising the palate.
And that brings me to Karen, a biotechnologist?
Yeah, biotechnologist.
What is that? Yeah.
Basically, I carry out like a lot of molecular biology research and everything like that. But distillation does fall under my field as well. So hence the reason why I'm the distillery operator at Copalli Distillery.
Yeah. And tell me, how did you find yourself working in a distillery? Was that the goal for you?
No, it's just a long series of events that take place, and one thing led to another, and ta-da!
Yeah. So talk to us about the Kapali Rum. Where did the idea first get started?
All right, so Copalli Lodge and Distillery, right? We're going to focus on Copalli Distillery, but there are two entities, same owner and on the same property.
Yes.
Right? So
Copalli is in Toledo.
It's in Toledo, right? Closer to Punta Gorda, right? So let me take you back. I'll give you a little history lesson. So sugarcane, actually, it's not native to Belize. It's actually native to South Asia, India, and New Guinea, right? The first sighting of sugarcane was actually introduced in the Corozal district as a domestic crop from the Yucatan Peninsula, right? And as we know, we are in the Caribbean, so the whole sugar industry started to boom later on with history, right? So with that said, the Toledo district actually isn't new to sugarcane, right? Back in the 1800s, the same property that we are on, Copalli Lodge and Distillery, was formerly owned by American Confederates who also grow their own sugar cane and produce their rum. That rum was called Rocky Run Rum, right? So
Rocky
they were Rocky Run Rum.
Because it used to be rocky to get in.
Yeah, it still kind of is. Right? So it's a cool thing, you know. I am a young guy, Karen and I. Actually, Karen and I went to primary school together, so you know we link up back at the job. So it's cool. But yeah. The American Confederates, they used to produce this rum, Rocky Run Rum, and here we are in 2019 also producing Copalli Rum. So, right, so nothing new to the property, and we're back in 2019 doing it again.
And you have a full distillery there?
Full distillery. Actually, we are in July now. In June, we won the best distillery in Belize. Wow. So we won an award for best distillery in Belize in June.
And how long have you guys been distilling rum?
Okay, so
since 2017, we've been distilling rum.
And already winning awards.
Exactly, right? And actually, our two marketed products are white rum and our barrel rested rum. We only launched these products October of last year, so less than a year, and we're already making big steps in the game.
Wow. Yeah. So what's so special about Copalli?
All right. So
tell me.
Let's talk about it, right? For one, this is an organic rum, organically certified. That means that our raw material, the sugar cane, was organically grown. Okay, so let's start with that. We are producing rum and we have sustainability at core. Okay, so that's the number one thing right there.
So what's the difference between an organically grown sugar cane and other sugar cane?
Well, organically grown sugar cane means that we're not using any harsh chemicals in fertilization or like using pesticides in the fields. Okay, so we're using a lot of chicken poop and, and burnt ash from the boiler, as well as we're using the treated vinasse. Vinasse is the waste coming off from the fermentation process. So it's a cycle. If you guys ever get a chance, Belize, right, get a chance to visit Copalli Lodge and Distillery, you can check out more of the full process, right, and you'll see that it's a cycle.
Yeah. distillery itself, you do tours so people can go in and see the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about the distillery.
Well, it all starts from the harvesting of the organically grown cane in the fields. The workers, they harvest the cane from the fields and they carry it to our distillery where it is immediately shredded and milled to produce the juice. And that juice is then sent to the fermentation tank to ferment by itself for a few hours before we pitch in commercial yeast, basically. And the fermentation process of the juice takes about 3 to 4 days. 3 to 4 days. And after that, it is then sent to the beer well, which is then either you could choose to send it to the column or the pot still. And from there, the pot still, let's go to the pot still, right? The pot still, we carry out a double distillation where we run the fermented juice through 2 pots, right? 2 pots. And the first pot, we actually put the fermented juice in there, and the product we take out from it would be called low wines, right? And the low wines are basically alcohol and some water. From then, we then send it to the next pot, which we reprocess it, the low wines, and we would get the hearts, the heads, and the tails. But the heads and the tails, we would normally cut it to send to the column to be reprocessed again, right? Because those are the bad stuff. We want the hearts. The hearts are the good stuff, right? And from there, let's go on to the columns, right? The columns and the distillation columns.
You know what I know you're doing? You're visualizing your process.
Yeah, I'm actually seeing everything right now in my head.
Process.
Yeah. Like I said, from the beer well, we could actually go either to the pot stills or the distillation column. For the distillation column, we could actually produce high-proof spirits. They don't really have a lot of taste, but the alcohol content is like really high in comparison to the pot still. The pot still is slow. It's a batch distillation, but you have more flavor. You have more flavor. It's slow, but you have more flavor. The columns are faster, but you don't really get that much flavor, right? So now, after we collect the hearts, sorry, I'm jumping everywhere right now because I'm seeing the process. So after we collect the hearts from the pot still, that is our pot still rum. Whereas the rum that we produce from the column, it's actually column rum. The pot still rum, we would normally barrel them, but we do leave some to blend for our white rum. Our white rum is a blend of the column rum and the white, pot still rum.
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain how. So here we have our 2 products currently on the market. We have a white rum and we have a barrel rested rum. Karen, can you tell us how we get?
Barrel rested.
Yeah, and that's a coin term. That term was developed by our master distiller, big up Ed Tej, right? And I honestly love this term. So, well, Karen will get into how we get this rum, but how we get
barrel rested.
Barrel rested. So you most likely would be hearing age, right? So I love the term barrel rested because it gives the impression that the spirit has spent time in the barrel, but more so like a nap and not so aged, right? So we're not trying to push the term age, and that's why I prefer the term barrel rested. You're getting barrel characteristics, but it hasn't spent that much time in the barrel for it to be aged, right?
Nice. So it's a dark rum and a white rum.
Yes.
Now, how do you ensure that it has a flavor that people will like?
Well, how do we ensure it'll have a flavor that people will like? We just go about making a good rum. I'd say people's palates vary. So it's kind of difficult to say, all right, this is what the general public will like.
Well,
right?
let me specify my question. So I know in Belize, oftentimes it's said that we don't really worry about how the rum tastes. I mean, we have people who drink red top. That's which is like pure alcohol. And then you have people who really care about the unique flavors of the rum. Which market are you really going for?
I'd say in between, but definitely there are unique flavors that come about in our rum, especially in the white rum. You know, when you talk about a white rum, if you've had other white rums, regardless of from where, you'll find that white rums tend to be a little bit more on the bland side, not a lot of flavor. But when we do the tasting, I'm sure your eyes will open when we see the flavors of the white rum, especially.
Okay.
All right.
White rum at 8 in the morning. There you
morning,
go.
right?
We are
Open
Belize
your eyes. That's what's gonna happen. So what's been the reaction since you put the rum out in the market?
Well, you want to get into the awards?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, big steps into the game, right? For 2019, these are award-winning rums, right? So let's start with
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Our white rum is the best white rum of the year and the only white rum to win gold, okay?
Wow.
So that's according to the New York International Spirits Competition, right? This white rum was judged over amongst 600 other spirits from around the world in a blind tasting, okay?
Wow.
And we won gold for our white rum. Right behind that, at the same competition, we won silver for our barrel-rested rum. So our two marketed products got the two highest awards at the New York International Spirits Competition.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So I do see that you talk about clearly your sugarcane that's harvested there organically, but it also has canopy water. So that's a fancy name of saying our own rainwater, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm sure that's the award-winning ingredient because it's rainwater from Belize.
From Belize, exactly. So there in Toledo District, as you guys know, we have the highest rainfall per annum in
That's
Belize,
right.
and we're definitely making use of that.
And the scariest thunder.
Helps us to sleep good at night, along with some rum.
So we're gonna get into some tasting, and I gotta say the bottles are so beautiful as well.
Thank you. We've gotten very good reviews and compliments on the bottles and labels, and I can see that you guys agree with that.
Yeah.
for
And
sure.
Copalli is from Copal Tree Lodge.
Yeah, well, the Copal tree in itself. So Copal tree is it comes from the Mayan community.
Extremely important.
Very important. So the Copal tree, the Mayans use it and they receive a sap from the tree and they burn it as an incense, usually at ceremonial events in a spiritual form. So Copalli, alcohol is a spirit, right? And there you can see the connection, right?
Okay. All right. So
some tasting?
I suppose we will. Let's taste this special canopy water.
All right, good.
So what's your recommend? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, what's the first thing that or the first drink that we're going to taste?
So let's start off with the gold, not the gold rum, but the gold winner, the white rum, right? We'll start off with the white rum. Okay. Pass me this. There you go. I'm going to show all the cameras.
So you have a bunch of recipes too. I've seen that online that you have put together. Do you have a mixologist who come up with recipes?
We have a mixologist at Copal Tree Lodge. Well, we have a few of them. Two popular ones would be Tim and Ducky. So if you ever buy Copal Tree Lodge, definitely,
Tim and Ducky. Okay, got it.
definitely shout out those guys. They'll fix you up, and they're very good at finding out what your taste interests are and building the perfect cocktail.
Okay.
There's something I should mention.
Yeah.
For every blending that we do for the bottles, for the barrel rested, it's actually different because we don't have any consistent color. Whatever the color we get is what comes out from the barrel.
Really organic, right?
Yeah.
What?
We don't add any coloring at all.
No
And does
coloring.
the density of the color change the flavor at all?
Depends on how long you leave it in the barrel.
How long it takes a nap? Yeah. The longer the nap, the more rested, or the better it is.
The better it is.
Actually, here in Belize too, in the tropics, we actually have excellent climate for aging, right? So the heat that we feel, whenever I talk about aging, I like to make the comparison to a tea bag. So you take a tea bag, you put it in cold water, it takes a long time before anything really happens, right? But you take that tea bag and you put it in hot water, then you start to see the colors and the essences be extracted. And it's a similar process when it comes to aging rum, right? So the heat in the tropics allows the rum to expand in the barrel, and at night when it contracts, it's pulling out along with it colors and flavors, right? So like Karen mentioned, we're going to big up the barrel-rested rum as well. Well, we'll get to that. Let's not jump ahead.
This rum already.
Yes. So here we go.
So I'll ask the question, being the boring person. What's the alcohol percentage in this that we're talking about?
Before you guys go ahead and nose anything, I'll show you guys how to properly nose and taste the spirit, right? Here we have, this is 42%, 84 proof.
84 proof.
84 proof. And this one is 88. 88 proof. Barrel rested is 88.
Which means you don't want to be pouring a whole lot.
Yeah,
No, unless you want to sleep fast.
Yeah.
You want to
Karen
be
knows.
rested like the rum, true?
All right.
That's such a good point. There you go. Rest like your barrel rested.
Yeah.
Okay, so now how do we sample? I mean,
How do we
sample
nose and taste this rum? Okay, so first I'm going to show you, right? We're going to cap the spirit, okay? And this is called awakening the spirit. We're going to give it a little swirl, all right?
Wake up from your rest.
So now look at what I'm about to do. We're going to nose, we're going to bring it in slowly, but we're going to inhale, leaving a space at the mouth. This will make the spirit not too harsh on your nose.
Okay.
So. Okay.
I taste it too. I taste it.
Like, right away.
That's rum.
Definitely. So right away, we're getting some kind of sweet notes, fruity like aromas.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is a white rum, and you wouldn't really expect a whole lot of flavor profiles from a white rum, right,
Yep.
Karen? Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead. If you guys want me to go ahead right now, I can explain the different flavor profiles. But if you guys would like to give a guess as to what you knows, right?
I am terrible at this game, so I'll give it to Gavin.
And if not, I can take it away whenever you're
Do
ready.
you smell anything specific or taste?
I can.
I don't know, picking up maybe what canopy water.
I smell the 84 proof.
All right. So yes, it is white rum. You're still gonna get that high alcohol.
Yeah.
Definitely. But what we're noticing more so, we're getting a lot of fruit profiles, right? We're getting some pineapple. We're getting some peach, right? A little bit of vanilla notes,
Yeah.
right? Now can we kind of see that?
I
Right.
get the vanilla.
This kind of comes along with
Experience,
experience, exercising the palate, right? Trying various rums, and a good way to exercise the palate and being able to notify different flavor profiles in a rum. Whenever you're eating any fruits you pass by, or if you pass by a rose petal, by a rosebud or hibiscus, go ahead, smell it, and register that smell in your brain, right?
Okay.
So yeah, the two popping would be like pineapple and peach, some berry-like profiles, a little bit of vanilla, right? And those are the most popping one. We could go ahead and taste it now.
Okay, so you're gonna show us how to sip?
Well, that's
Just
for normal.
sip?
Just don't throw it back and take a shot, right?
Slug it, right? Okay. That's what Stephen is trying to tell me to do. Bad influence you. Just a sip. Terrible influence. Good.
All right. And you don't have to finish it. We're just doing a taste. If you want, you can.
It
That is
doesn't
good.
taste as strong as I thought it
no,
was
that's
going
the
to be.
same thing
Usually,
I-
yeah.
I thought it was going to be much more harsh, but it
Yeah.
And
actually is really smooth.
It has flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And that isn't any flavor that is added. So again, with our organically grown sugarcane, we chose specific varietals of sugarcane. So we're not growing the commercial sugarcane, the yellow sugarcane that is grown in the north. We're growing two main varietals of sugarcane, right?
Yeah.
Specifically a red sugarcane varietal and a black cane. I think the black cane in Creole we call it a young girl cane, right? So yeah, those are the two varietals, and a lot of flavor is developed within the field, right?
Yeah.
So those get reflected in the fermentation process and are continued after distillation. So that's where a lot of the flavor comes from.
That was very unexpected.
It was.
Yeah.
It's smooth. I can already picture my mojito.
Yeah, excellent. The white rum. So white rums aren't typically sip, right? But as you can see, we do have some flavor in
Usually
this white rum.
mixed.
Yes, they're usually mixed. So our white rum is very popular in a daiquiri, a mojito, and various cocktails. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So,
The next one.
oh yes,
There's a next one.
more rum.
Right. So we have the barrel rested here.
Okay.
Okay.
So this one will taste different because it's been in a barrel.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. This one could be more of a sipping rum. You can sip it neat. You can sip it on the rocks with a couple cubes of ice, or you can put it in a cocktail, right?
Okay.
My main advice is to don't down it down like
Down
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Despite the advice we're being given by the experienced drinkers over there.
Unofficial expert.
See what I tell you? Lots of people call themselves rum experts.
So, Karen, maybe while we're going through this, or before we go ahead and do the tasting, I wanted you to do this for the white rum. So, can you tell us again how we got the white rum, and then you'll tell us how we get the barrel rested rum.
All right. So for the white rum, we blend the unaged pot still or the pot still rum that has been barreled. We blend it with column rum. Column rum is basically the rum that we get from the distillation columns.
Yeah.
I can't tell you what's the blend, but all you really don't know is it's a blend of pot still and
So it's
column.
the slow process as well as the fast process mixed
yeah.
together. The high proof and the more flavor.
the flavor
Yeah.
comes mainly from the pot still.
Okay.
All right, so
And
that's
that high
what
proof
she's
is
willing.
Yes.
All right, so before we taste the barrel rested, Karen, can you tell us what the barrel rested is composed of?
Oh, clearly this is your baby,
This is
right?
Oh
baby.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, for the barrel rested, it comes out from the pot still. It's basically the pot still rum, but we put it directly into the barrel after we bring it down to like a certain proof, right? And I will mention it.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
So after we bring down to a certain proof, we barrel it, and it rests for about, yeah, we're gonna say rest.
Yeah, it rests.
Yeah.
It rests.
Yeah.
For about minimum 6 months
Yeah.
to maybe even longer, depends on when the master distiller decides on
Yeah,
using
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But the color comes from the caramelization process, because let's say when you put it inside the barrel is toasted. It's dark inside, right? So the alcohol soaks up the flavor, the sweet caramelization process inside the barrel itself naturally.
Natural, right?
Yeah, it absorbs the flavor and also the color. So that's how you get your color and your rich flavor.
Right, so no additional caramel.
No
We didn't add
additional
any
caramel.
That is natural caramel
And
from
I
the
can
American
assure you that
oak wood.
because me and some of my colleagues, we actually deal with this from every step of the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
This is literally her baby.
I know. I saw that by the way she held it, right?
I mean, this one is
You know,
also
you
the
can't
baby
have
as well.
favorites among your children. That's supposed to be really bad. Yeah.
All right, here we go. So even before you taste it, why don't you just lift this glass up to the light and kind of get that color? So right, that's something we're very proud of. There is no additional caramel or caramel flavor or coloring, right? That didn't happen or didn't occur naturally in the aging process.
Nice.
All right, so you guys know how to properly nose a spirit.
Okay.
Let's go ahead, awaken that spirit.
swirl.
All right.
Wake up, wake up.
Good morning.
Open your eyes.
Yeah, open your eyes.
And now we open our nose.
All right. So what do we get?
It's a bit
Do you want an honest answer?
Honest
Bad
answer.
decisions of my youth.
This one to me smells a little bit sweeter,
Yeah.
Okay.
almost like kind of like a really like a sugary molasses or honey type flavor.
Yeah, you know when you
Let's say
caramelize
more honey.
onions,
honey, yeah.
and the onions turn dark brown and it gets sweet. It's basically
like
almost
that
the same.
acidic kind of
Yeah.
sweetness like honey. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's stay more along honey because we didn't use any molasses in this process. Fresh cane juice.
Fresh cane
Yeah.
juice.
Right?
But it does smell sweeter than the
Yes,
last
so
one.
we're getting some honey, vanilla-like profiles. It is a bit more spicy, so I would say we get some like allspice or spice
Yeah.
seed flavors. Okay, little bit of smoky like leather, I'd say, right? And that is influenced from the charred barrel, American oak. Okay.
All right.
I also get some toasted nuts and like that sweetness, I'd say like some toasted almonds, I'd say per se. All right. So let's go ahead and taste and let's see if these flavor profiles match up, right? This one's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Alright.
smooth.
That's smooth, yeah,
Smooth.
exactly. Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
mellow.
that's the most
So
important part.
this is an excellent sipping rum.
And it's not
Yeah.
too sweet.
No, it's
I was
not
gonna
that
say
sweet.
it goes smooth, almost like a really good whiskey.
Yeah.
That smoothness. Yeah.
Definitely. Does carry some whiskey-like characteristics.
Yes, definitely.
All right, so there we
that's
have
good.
it. We
That's
have it definitely isn't sweet, which I do appreciate because that's always my concern with some of those rums. So there you have it, Kapali white rum
Kapali.
and Kapali barrel rested rum. Now, is the product available countrywide?
It's not yet available countrywide. We are working on local distributors or retailers, right? But you can purchase it. The only distributor in Belize at the moment would be Copal Lodge,
Okay.
right? So everything kind of is happening very recent, as you know, like less than a year, and we're in the commercial market. But we are working on local retailers in Belize. We actually just received about a few weeks back, we received permission to distribute locally.
Okay.
So as you can see, these bottles right here have for sale in Belize. Okay. So you can now purchase Kapali Rum in Belize. As of right now at Copal Lodge, but soon enough you'll see that your local retailer.
So do you intend to just kind of stay with these two products for a while, or are you cooking up some magic in your distillery?
Of course, we have to cook up some
All
magic.
right, because I'm going to challenge you, because I'm one of the few people who love the smell of Copal, like actual Copal. You got to do something with that. If you're going to be Kapali Rum, right? All right, so there you have it. A great first day for you, Gavin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rum first thing in the morning. Award-winning rum. Award-winning Belizean rum.
Yeah.
All right, but
Yes.
thank you guys so much for coming in, and thank you for sharing all the knowledge that you have. We do appreciate it, and when the product is available, people will know what to expect when they can get it at the different distributors.
Yes, yes. I want to say thank you very much. It's been our pleasure. I want to give a shout out to the whole Toledo district.
Yeah.
Usually we are the forgotten district, but definitely Copalli hopefully will shed some light on the district,
Yeah.
right? I want to shout out the family members and friends watching on the show, and thank you guys very much for having us here.
All right, and
Thanks
thank
for
you
being
too.
here.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna go ahead now and take our final break, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap up. So stay